ਸੋ ਇਸ ਵਕਤ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਅਜਿਹੀ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤ ਨਾਲ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਵਾਉਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੈਂਟ ਸਕਸੈਸ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਫੈਕਟ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਾਰਪੋਰੇਟ ਦੇ ਖੇਤਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਉਚਾਈਆਂ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਮਿਲੇਗਾ। ਅਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕੁਛ ਅਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਕੰਮ ਆ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। So today we have with us Mr. Sandeep Goyal, who is the Managing Director of Scotiabank's Global Family Office Group. Sandeep ji, welcome to the studio.
Very good morning.
How are you?
I'm very good. Thank
So
you.
first of all, we are really very happy to see you here in our studio. How's your experience right now?
This is very good. This is the first time I'm on radio. So yeah, definitely it's a learning experience for me.
First of all, when we talk about the Scotiabank's Global Family Office Group, so can you please tell our listeners about us? Can you, if you don't mind, if you can explain about this thing?
So Global Family Office takes care of ultra high net worth families, and we offer a suite of bespoke financial services, which includes private banking, asset management, estate planning. We do a range of services which are relevant to high net worth individuals.
So as a managing director, like what you do on the daily basis on this position?
So I take care of ethnic Indian families primarily. So my intent is to reach out to these families and educate them in terms of what exactly is the need and what do we offer and how are we different in the market.
So me and my listener, we all are very curious to know about your journey, so about your success story. If you don't mind, if you can put some light on it.
Yes. So, I graduated from Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore, and I joined ICICI Bank, spent almost 25 years with them across various locations. So I spent some time in UK, in India, and then came to Canada in 2007. It is a good journey, across various markets, very different from a regulatory as well as from a offering standpoint, and I kept on learning in each of these markets. So that's the curve.
How different the Canadian cooperative sector is from India?
I would say the basics remain the same everywhere. The difference could be in terms of intensity of competition, intensity of demand. Like Canada is primarily export market. India is very, very internally focused. So that could be the difference. But on the broad basis, I think they are fairly similar.
So were there any obstacles in your way, or especially if you want to tell us about your struggle story, if there is any?
So, I would like to highlight during COVID, it was a very tough time for a lot of small institutions in Canada. And I had just taken over as CEO for ICICI in Canada. And it was a tough time. And, with the support of the staff, management, the board, I think we did a good job, really good job. But it was a struggling time for a lot of small institutions here.
So how much competition is there in the corporate sector?
In terms of banking sector, I think it is fairly well understood. There are large banks, Schedule 1 banks. Then there are Schedule 2 banks, which are, focused on certain communities or certain trade corridors. And then there is a range of credit unions which are there, which again focus on very specific communities. So it's a very well-structured, well-regulated industry in Canada.
So in the corporate sector, what do you think that are the factors or the most important things that people should do to get success or for their success stories?
So, 2 or 3 things, from my own learning, I would love to share. Definitely whoever is coming to work on the corporate side has the requisite qualifications or educational background. So use your what we call intelligence quotient. Use it to the maximum. Do well in your job. Go the extra mile which is required. The other thing which is very important in many of the corporate jobs is the emotional quotient. People forget that, and there is no teaching which is done on this particular topic.
Okay.
So you need to learn how to do teamwork, how to understand what the other person is thinking, how to take care of what not to say, what to say. So those kind of things are very, very important in the corporate environment.
Do you think the concept of wealth management, such as financial planning, investment, strategies, and tax optimization, are just as important for young generation to understand and apply in their own lives?
Absolutely. The more I'm understanding, the earlier you start, the bigger the benefit is. So, young generation, even if you are not probably thinking that you are wealthy, but the concepts which will come handy to you, say 10 years, 20 years down the line, if you start early, understanding these concepts, I think it will be of great help because there is a power of compounding which is there in financial services. So the earlier you start, the better it is.
So, is there any work that they can do with their own things, or it should be taught in a teacher in the schools or colleges?
I think investment advisory services is a very specialist area. So my recommendation will be to visit your bank branch, preferably Scotia Bank. You can visit any nearest branch and get in touch with the financial advisors there.
Okay. So there is one more thing. Like when we talk about Toronto is a home to many South Asian youngsters, right? Especially the first generation immigrants who often focus on meeting immediate financial needs. As a result, they may feel that they don't have enough to prioritize saving or investing. As a financial expert, what advice would you give to these young South Asians to help them shift their mindset and start building a strong financial foundation?
So, I also, when I came here, and a lot of my friends, when they came here, they were all, in that boat where, you are having debt on your accounts and you have to take care of a lot of financial requirements, both in Canada, India, home country, you have to take care of your parents. So I understand, once new immigrants come in. But you become what you think. So you should start early, as I told earlier. Start small. There is no harm in being, relevant and starting small, and keep learning as you go along.
So in many South Asian families especially, there are often some emphasis on saving for the short term or for family obligations. How would you explain the importance of starting early with the investments and embracing the power of compounding over years?
Yeah. So, as we work with large families also, there is always this concept of asset allocation, how much you should put in a bank deposit, how much you should put in investments. And that's a ratio. So, if you have $10 to save, how much you put in a bank account and how much you put in investment. So that ratio will work for anybody, even if you have small savings. And your savings will grow. Compounding, definitely, if you start early, money you save today, say at 5%, if it compounded over 15 years or 20 years or 30 years, it will always be better. The longer the time frame, it is better.
So sometimes the youngsters, they don't see any immediate benefit of long-term financial planning. So what would you like to say about this?
No, long-term financial planning is always beneficial because, it will show you, even if it might not be accurate, because, how do you foresee what will happen in next 30 years? But still, it gives you an estimate in terms of where you will be in terms of your assets, liabilities, savings, what is the best way forward for you. So it should be done.
So when we talk about the today's scenario, especially for the immigrants, the young immigrants who are here right now, so wealth management strategies sometimes seem more complex and out of reach for those who aren't yet wealthy. So whatever advice do you have for individuals who may feel overwhelmed by the idea of the wealth management?
Good question. Best thing I'll advise them is that, visit your nearest branch, start, understand, nobody is forcing you to get into it, but at least understand it. The door will be open and, you can start small and take baby steps. And when you feel comfortable, you can do larger things.
So sometimes they feel like if they will go with the long-term financial planning, they sometimes feel like if they will get financially strained or sometime overstressed. What would you say?
Not necessarily, because these investments will typically be held into a registered or a non-registered account. They are liquid in nature. In case you are not able to pull on, you can always pull them back. So these are very flexible plans.
So you have a very long experience. You have when we have a look at your career. So in the closing, what would you like to say to our listeners who are listening you right now? Any advice, any tip you would like to say?
Sure. Work hard. Walk that extra mile in your work, and get very early exposed to the financial planning aspect of it, because it will go a long way for your wealth.
So when we talk about today's scenario, do you think like financial planning is that much easy right now, the time that is going on?
Yeah, that's fine. It is always, volatility is always there in the market. Reasons could be different, but markets are always, volatile. So there is no better way to start financial planning anytime.
So one word about Canada.
Oh, it is blessed.
So thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to our studio. It was really a pleasure to meet you and talk to you on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.